But there have been 25,000 people who have been massacred by Bashar Assad, and we won't even give them weapons with which to have a fair fight. While Russian weapons fly, while Iranians are on the ground, and there is the worst kind of atrocities being committed by Bashar al-Assad. The perception in the Middle East is that the United States is weak and withdrawing. Osama bin Laden once said, there's a strong horse and a weak horse, and people will go with the strong horse. We are viewed as the weak horse. That's why we need new leadership in Washington, D.C. That in the last 4 years, the debt has gone from $10 to $16 trillion. We need people who understand in Washington what it's like to meet a payroll. We need people in Washington, D.C. who know the combat of the free enterprise system. People who have sometimes failed and picked themselves up and moved on and fought on with the free enterprise system, with entrepreneurship, and an understanding of the dynamics of our economy, which does not mean more rules, more regulation, and more Obamacare. I promise you, Linda and I will join together when we have the majority and we have a different majority leader, that we will repeal and replace Obamacare. I'm honored to be here with this person who has had great success and an occasional failure, who understands what it's like to know failure and pick oneself up and succeed and move forward. She understands the heartbreak of many Americans that have been the result of this incredible mishandled, the longest and hardest recession since the Great Depression. That didn't happen by accident. We need someone who understands what it's like to be a fiscal conservative. We need to have someone who knows what it's like to meet a payroll. We need someone who has the fundamental understanding and belief and faith that the role of government is not to create jobs. It's the role of business to create jobs in America. And that's what I'd like to give my veterans a straight talk and then turn it over to Linda. My friends, this election can only be won by getting out the vote. That's the only way, straight talk, okay? The Democratic registration in this state is larger than that of the Republican registration. We all know that. So you've got to, between now and Election Day, call 50 people. Even call your mother-in-law. Okay? Call. You've got to get this vote out. This election will rest on getting out the vote. Our veterans have got to turn out and support the next senator from the state of Connecticut, Linda McMahon.
Thank you also very much. Thank you very much, Senator McCain, and also Congressman Rob Simmons. And I would like to say that I've noticed Congressman Chris Shays. Welcome this morning, Chris. I am so proud to look out over this audience and see all of these Veterans for Linda shirts, and to say hello to David Cole, who actually started our Veterans for Linda Coalition here, retired Lieutenant Colonel. He and I met relative to Fisher House. We attended a ceremony in Norwalk for our veterans, and he has just been unbelievably strong, along with Angel, who has been coordinating for our veterans. And to see all of these hats and Veterans for Linda shirts makes me incredibly proud, because I can't think of a finer group to be on my side. Because you proved your mettle, you proved your worth, you put your life on the line and your limbs to fight for our freedoms, and I couldn't be more proud than to be represented by such a group. And thank you all so very, very much. And now what we need to do as a government for our veterans is to make sure that just like our promise to our seniors for Medicare and Social Security, we must keep our promise to our veterans for their benefits, for their health, for the GI Bill, for their pensions. We must make sure that we get rid of a lot of this red tape that's taking so long time to process these benefits for you, and we must get behind our veterans. But the best way that we can get behind our veterans, especially those who are coming home today, is to make sure that they have a job. To make sure they have a job. So often our veterans are returning homeless. They can't get jobs. They're not getting the proper medical treatment that they should. Sometimes often, counseling for the mental debilitations of being deployed. Unfortunately today, a veteran takes his own life every 80 seconds. We have to make sure that doesn't happen. These are the men and women, many of you, who have put your life on the line for us. We must take care of you and your families, give you the best of what we've got when you're deployed, make sure we take care of you when we bring you home. So thank you so very much. And I want to make sure that you have a job. That's why, as part of my jobs plan, contrary to my opponent who has no jobs plan, I want to make sure that you are able to relate to your employers what your skills in the service are, so that we have a match between our employers and our prospective employees. Often, one of the greatest complaints I hear from veterans and from employers is they don't know how to match the job skills with jobs that are available. We must make sure that we do that, because our veterans are trained in mission and in focus and in teamwork. And those are skills that often are overlooked in today's business environment. So I want to make sure, part of my jobs plan is to make sure that we're putting our veterans to work. I want to make sure you have jobs. I want to make sure there is a strong submarine base in Groton and an electric boat. The electric boat has the basis for that. And my opponent, Congressman Murphy, has twice voted this past year not to fund military appropriations, defense appropriations, which could cost jobs in electric boat. Twice, even when the other delegation here in Connecticut voted for it, realizing the benefit and the need of defense jobs here as well as for our national security. So Congressman Murphy and I very much differ from each other on that plan. So I want to make sure that not only our veterans have jobs, the people of Connecticut have jobs. And in my 6-point plan starts with the tax cut for the middle class. Congressman Murphy's voted 3 times to raise taxes on the middle class. I want to reduce taxes on the middle class, and now he's claiming he wants a tax cut for the middle class. Typical. Says one thing in Connecticut, gets to Washington, does something else. That's what we don't need. We definitely don't need that. We need a firm plan. You can see what my commitment is. It's reducing taxes on businesses so we're competitive globally. And as Senator McCain referenced, we've got to roll back over-regulation, over-taxation, so that our businesses can grow jobs. Not the federal government, because government has never created a single job. So you have my pledge this morning. As your United States Senator, I will work from day one to pass my plan. Pass my plan that will reduce taxes on the middle class, will reduce taxes on businesses and make us globally competitive, roll back regulations, cut our spending so that we stop spending more than we make sure that we are training our folks for jobs that are available, because we have good jobs here in Connecticut with a lot of our manufacturing companies. They tell me they don't have a skilled workforce for the jobs that are available. Well, let's take care of that. It's a good place for our veterans to be too. And last but not least, let's create our energy policy to develop our own natural resources, our oil, our natural gas. While at the same time we develop our renewables, our wind, our solar, our geothermal, and our nuclear. But we can create jobs here in the energy department, and we can have good energy without harming our environment. We want to protect our environment and make sure that for those next generations who are coming along, that they have good clean air and good clean water. And that's my pledge to you. I'm going to fight for this plan. It is a workable plan. An economic model has been built against it. The numbers work. Congressman Murphy has no plan. His is a work in progress. Well, we want action. We want real progress. We don't want people who are still thinking about having a plan. So with me, you've got someone who's bringing a plan to Washington, wants to put people back to work, get our economy back on the right track, and to make sure that government is attending to the needs of the safety of our national security as well through a strong military and a strong defense. Because I like what Dwight Eisenhower said, it's peace through strength. And we must make sure we have the appropriate strength. So to our veterans, who are here, thank you again so much, not only for your service, but for your support for me, Senator McCain, for our country and our state by being here this morning. And I would like to sit alongside this independent thinker in the Senate to make sure that we move forward for our economics and a strong defense. Thank you all so very, very much for being here.
Now we're back to
Yeah, I have. I have that.
You know what? They just
Plus, they want to see. They just want to see the guys, don't they?
Oh, you got yours.
very soft spoken.
Yeah.
I keep. I'm gonna go back. I'm like. You should. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
Let's go this way.
Come on, Kitty. Okay, Joe. Let's go. Thank you. I'm trying. I've been falling on my face and breaking bones.
No, he's looking at me.
Well, see, the good thing about being short, I can stand wherever I want. That's right. You can't even get out. I missed that part because I never get photos.
Perfect spot right there.